All right. Well, good morning. And we're going to be talking about building buyers' confidence and messaging that works in really tough times as that we're going through. This presentation is going to be about 40 minutes, and you can always watch it again. And if you have any questions, just ask. I'm perfectly open to it. As some of you know, my name is Miriam Golubgir, and as Paula, I'm Miriam Golubgir. I'm the founder and the Chief Amazement Officer of Digital Marketing Experts. And our expertise has everything to do with creative in digital marketing and website optimization and creating a strategy that lasts you a long time. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how are we going to build our buyers' confidence and what are we going to do with our messaging. And this is important because at the end of the day, messaging is how we communicate with everybody that's out there. One of the things that we want to make sure that, and it doesn't really matter if we're going through a rough time with our business or the economy is going back or everything's going great. There's three components, actually there's five components of a messaging that you should obey by. Number one, you have to be incredibly transparent. So buyers, they want open, honest conversation. So if you have any sort of like a pricing method or a process or even limitations, they want to know all about it. So brands that show, cost breakdowns, like why is this costing me $50? I saw a girl on Instagram the other day. She sells sapphire beads, sapphire necklaces. And she did a breakdown of why she's adding an extra 2% or 5%, I can't remember how much it was, into her pricing. She talked about tariffs. She talked about, how the cost of gold has gone up. She talked about how the cost of material and workers have gone up. And she cared that her staff do get paid the proper wage, and not just minimum wage, the proper wage to make life happen for them as well. And that to me made a huge difference. So the transparency doesn't necessarily weaken your pitch. It actually strengthens it because you're telling the truth. And me as a business owner want to work with someone who's honest because that's a big deal. The other piece is that you want to give proof-based messaging. So if you're giving any sort of like any sort of a message about your business, you want it to come from customers because and you want it to come from people that I will trust. So having testimonials or user-generated content makes a difference. If I see my friends or someone that's relatable has bought a product of yours and has a good review of the product and the service that they received, I will buy that product. I have a habit, and I've noticed a lot of people have the same similar habits. When we look at a product, the first, let's say if I'm buying something off Amazon, I look at the product, I look at the pricing, then I go read the reviews to see how people felt about getting this. So don't just say it, show it. Prove to buyers that you're trustworthy. Now, empathy-driven communication is super important. So there's an AI trend that analysis that kind of showed that empathy in brand messaging will increase engagement. So acknowledge customers' concern and don't just gloss over. So if you get a review and someone's unhappy about something, let's say if you get a review on Google and someone is unhappy, talk about it. Respond to that review. Give a phone number, give an email address, get them to call you and try to figure out what the problem is. Okay? Storytelling means more to people than you trying to sell something to me. It's the truth. So if buyers are trying to buy something from you, they don't want you to just, advertise the cake. They want to share the story of how this cake makes a difference celebrating someone's milestone. So that storytelling, it kind of tells people that your brand is guiding your customer story and not just the hero. So like if I was trying to buy a cake for, my son's birthday, and your story is Miriam came. She was looking for a cake for her son's birthday because her son is incredibly picky. So Miriam came to me and told me what she was looking for, and I came up with an idea, and we're hoping that he loved it. You're not the hero, but you solved Miriam's problem in a story format. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Also, you want to use AI. So use AI. Using AI is not a bad thing. And there are tons of tools like 7 Sense or Persado or Jasper that kind of allows you as an SMB to test and tailor messaging. So you can have the story and you can push that story into that AI tool and say, hey, can you customize this for me or personalize this even more? So personalization means that the message that you speak to a buyer, um, it's not just it's not just like on a first name story. It has to be based on the fears and the aspirations that they have and how you're here to help that problem. Now, I put together 7 steps. We're going to go over it together and see how we can make these messaging wireframe work better for you. So, step 1 is acknowledging the buyer's concern. So, address the elephant in the room. What's the problem? Most of the times, it's the budget. The other piece are, fear of uncertainty. So, for example, you can say things like, every dollar matters right now. And that's why our solution focuses on long-term saving. So you have a solution and you acknowledging that there is a problem. And then you're acknowledging that there's a fear that makes buyers feel understood and that you get it. You're going to come and help them however you can to make this go as smooth as possible for them. You want to show proof and not promises. So which means that if someone's giving you a really good testimonial, if you have any sort of a certification or data that proves that kind of supports a claim that you're making. Let's say you're making a claim that 30% of buyers who buy the supplement say that they feel better. So if you can scientifically prove that claim, use that claim to put that claim in your ads, put that claim on your website, put it on your landing pages. Now, if someone has given you a really good review for a particular product, it's called user-generated content or UGC. If you see that acronym, that's what it means. Use that embedded content, user-generated content as an ad. And also put it on a landing page. If someone said you're fantastic and it's a good choice to go with you, that's the best ad you can use. So trust is built faster when customers see buyers that have had success with your products and services. You want to tell a transformation story. So there's this 3 structure to the story, which is what's the problem, what solution did you use, and then how did that transformation happen? So example would be meet Sarah. She struggled with problem number 1. After using our product, she saw this particular result, and now she benefits from the happiness that she feels or everything else that she goes with it. And the purpose behind that is because we want to humanize your brand and give it context to your solutions and why your products and services are the reason why they need to buy. You also want to offer recession-proof guarantees. So you want to introduce risk revealing tactics. So money back guarantees, free trials, flexible payment plans, they're really big. I saw one of our clients the other day. I haven't been on their website in a while. We do something completely different for them now. And then I had to find something. So I went on their website to look for that product. And I noticed on their super heavy and expensive products, they have a payment plan. So if you can't buy this product, let's say at $7,000, you can do the payment plan for it. So this kind of reduces buyers' risk, and it's easier for them to say yes because it's 7,000, but then I can break it and pay it in like 5 years, and it would be much easier for me to kind of digest that. You kind of want to emphasize long-term values because these long-term values can changes the way I look at your products and services. So you want to reframe the purchases as an investment, not necessarily as an expense. And here's an example. So our services save clients an average of $500 a year. So in downturns, customers kind of want that durability and that return on investment. So if it's saving me $500 a year, I'd rather go with you than someone else that doesn't. I use AI. So I often write something for a client, and then I write the story, and then I push that story into AI, and I'm like, refine it, change the messaging, make it very particular, and make it to work for this particular customer. And I always have to, if you can look at the image, there's always spelling mistake. There's always the chance of it not being the true information that you've provided to it, or the spelling of the words will be different. So take that and read it over and make sure that it's written properly for you to use. And don't use the AI to write the story. Just use to refine it and resonate it the most to your target audience. You got to write the story, or get a writer to write your story. Um, so important to keep communication as humane as possible, and be human, be kind and loving and caring to the people that you speak with. So if you have a team, train them to be empathetic and use empathetic language in their sales calls or their support call. So here's an example. Instead of saying that's our policy, um, replace, like, our policy is that we understand how you feel. We'll change that to, okay, let's work on a solution together. How are we going to help you with what you need? And automation delivers messages, but people are the one that build those relationships. So the past 12 years of my business, I've built relationships with everybody, rather than care about that $5 or $20 or 30, 100, whatever that amount is. I care about having that person in my life. Even if sometimes I, call and say, let's go for lunch, I'm not going in with an intention of getting that business from them. I just want to build that relationship. And it works very well in my industry. Here's a case study. Um, there's a small fitness studio in Vancouver, and they were getting a lot of cancellations because there was, a slowdown in 2024. So instead of pushing a sort of a discount, they launched a message campaign that focused on buyer's confidence. So what they did is they acknowledged fears. So we know our gym membership feels like a luxury right now. And then they shared proof. So customer stories that show members who stayed active and how it mentally um, helped them feel better, and they thanked the studio. And then they offered risk-free 30 days, no commitment. Just come in for the 30 days and work out. Well, what happened? Their membership cancellation dropped by 40%, and their trial sign up doubled up. So they didn't ignore the customer's hesitation. They faced it head on with empathy and proof and reassurance that, listen, we got you back. And if you can't do it, it's perfectly fine. Let's recap some of the points that we talked about. So acknowledge your buyer's fears instead of ignoring them. Use proof-based messaging, testimonials, user-generated content, any sort of an evidence that you can find. Tell stories of transformation rather than selling features. I hate when people try to sell to me. I genuinely go out of my way not to buy their product if they try to sell to me. Offer risk-reducing guarantees to remove hesitation, 30 days. Free money back guarantee. They're a really good one. Use the AI to personalize and refine your message, not to write your story. When uncertainty rises, confidence in your message becomes your strongest tool. So you kind of want to be as empathetic as possible and be as transparent as possible, and prove that not only they can go through whatever is going on, but they can trust your brand, that you're going to be in the market and you're not going anywhere. And buyers don't need the loudest voice. They need the clear and trustworthy ones from you as a business owner. So as transparent as you can be, and as trustworthy as you can be, it will make them much more likely to want to work with you. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to questions. And I just want to mention that this recording plus the presentation will be emailed to everybody. And it will also sit on our website. So feel free to download it or go on our website if you have any questions. Let me stop sharing. Paula, did you have any questions?